Chris, have you ever heard of the song Sven, Sven, Sven by Bell and Sperling?
Well, I heard of it when you said it about 10 seconds ago, but I wasn't recording then. But no, go ahead.
Well, let me read some lyrics out to you. It's a true classic of the age.
Oh, is it very much like running in the 90s kind of thing?
Well, listen to the lyrics, okay? You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is the first kind of opening to it. Sven, 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 Göran Eriksson. He's got Jimmy Savile's haircut, so how'd he get a lovely girlfriend? He tried too many players for the Holland game. Yeah, how'd he forget Collymore? They say he's insane. It's not aged well, I can't say.
Not really. This is one of the 2 games that Sven-Göran Eriksson actually has his face on the front of it. But welcome, everyone. Welcome. Interesting segue, I guess, Sam, for the opening of the Asian qualifiers. But welcome, everyone, to the 2022 Global Trophy Asian Qualifiers. I'm joined alongside
Sam Elliott 64. Yes, I had to bring that up because I always forget this game is named after Sven-Göran Eriksson, and I've never really bought this song up before, and I just thought I had to share it with everyone because it's not aged particularly well, has it? The lyrics.
No.
It doesn't get much better.
Not.
It doesn't get much better because it goes on to say, hang on, wait for it.
Oh God, does it mention Gary Glitter or something?
No, seaman, seaman, seaman. Your hair is a right old state. All you need is a Mark 1 escort and a sovereign ring mate. They're trying to say David Seaman's like, a pimp. It's not
to be
good.
fair, that moustache was awesome.
And the ponytail, it was incredible.
Ponytail was awesome.
I like David Seaman. I thought he was a top bloke.
Yeah, in my Premier Manager 2000 game, I had 3 David Seaman in my team.
That's a lot of seamen.
Asian qualifiers. So, I actually looked, to be honest, I actually did a bit of fact-checking history. For the Asian qualifiers for the last sort of couple of years. And Fiji were the dud team last year.
Yeah, they were. It's not... Yeah, poor Fiji. They finished 8th 2 years in a row in the preliminaries, but maybe next year. Maybe next year.
I know that 4 years ago in the preliminaries, they actually qualified.
They did, yeah. They have done before. I distinctly remember them competing in the past, but sadly not for a good while.
Yep. Next up, it's Yemen, who finished 7th in the preliminary league last month.
Yeah, they did. It's been a bit fortunate, maybe, that such a hard, difficult match for Fiji. I think it was Kuwait they fought in their last fixture. So again, good fortune on their part, and good fortune for Yemen that they end up playing Hong Kong at the end.
Yep, definitely. Next up, it is Myanmar.
Yeah, Myanmar did pretty well in the end, didn't they? They were I wouldn't say they were comfortable throughout, but towards the end they kind of pulled away from that kind of critical 8th place.
Yeah, they certainly did enough to warrant this spot here. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Next up, it is New Caledonia being represented by, obviously, the Dominican Republic for the 3rd year in a row.
Oh, really? Wow,
yeah.
That's impressive. I wonder if there's like a trade deal between the two in real life. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
What, just to be there and go, okay, you just stay slightly below us in the FIFA rankings for 3 years.
New Caledonia.
Never know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yep. Next up, it is the Philippines.
Yep, the Philippines did okay. They had some big wins in the middle, didn't they? Which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they finished in the top 4, and those top 4 were certainly essentially runaways in comparison to the rest. So they all did quite well in the Philippines. Bottom of the lot, but still could have a shout here.
Yep, absolutely. They should qualify. They have qualified in the past, haven't they, for the Global Trophy?
Yeah, definitely. Next up, it is Kuwait.
They had some good wins, didn't they, Kuwait? And they were very impressive throughout. They ended up finishing 3rd in the end after a couple of surprise losses. I think one to Malaysia, obviously, because Malaysia went 100%. And I can't remember who the other one was, but it wasn't a big team, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it might have been maybe Chinese Taipei.
I can't remember. It was a month ago, Chris.
It was yesterday.
No, it was a month ago, Chris. What are you on about?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. It was about 22 hours ago.
It was, yeah.
Next up, Afghanistan, who finished runner-up in the preliminary league.
They did, yeah.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Yesterday for us, a month ago for you, out there on YouTube. Yeah, they did okay, didn't they? I think the only defeat was to Malaysia. A couple of draws in there as well. But, again, not one to be taken lightly, Afghanistan. We'll have to see how they get on.
Yeah, altogether, solid performance, I'd say, from Afghanistan.
Yeah, a nice warm-up.
Next up, the winners of the preliminary league. They've now won it twice in 3 years. It's Malaysia.
Yep, absolutely. The former Asian section champions back in 2010. How the mighty have fallen, I suppose you could say. They have to pre-qualify, but yep, Malaysia once again here for the global trophy.
Yep. And now we get into the 16 teams that qualify due to their FIFA rankings. Barely making it through is Tajikistan.
The powerhouse of football that is Tajikistan, right?
Damn right. Damn right. Global trophy favourite simply because, God, it's an annoying country's name to write out.
Yep, it really is.
J-I-K and then another I. Oh, that annoys my wrist so much when I used to write these out.
Yeah, in actual, pen instead of using an Excel spreadsheet like you do today.
Pen.
Technology, right?
One of my friends at school called Fred, he used to just go technology all the time. It was weird. Hope he's doing well though. Next up it is North Korea, of course.
The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, yeah. And none of them, none of those words are actually true. They're not democratic. There are people there, but it's certainly not a republic.
Maybe
yeah,
the
let's move
D
on.
should stand for dictatorship or something, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Just possibly.
Or dictatorial, there you go, that
Yep.
works.
Next up, the country that owns the most subscribed YouTube channel. It's India.
Oh, is that T-Series?
Yep. Can I just say,
So
no one gives a crap about T-Series behind-the-scenes stuff. They only
Well,
care
can I
about the
just-
music and the movie trailers. Stop doing the behind-the-scenes stuff. You're not getting any money off it.
Can I just say, so my old boss, I won't say who it is, but yeah, he works for a established, United Kingdom supermarket chain. But his brother works in T-Series.
Fair enough.
There you go. There you go.
How much does that person hate Mr. Beast?
No idea. Mr. Beast's cool though, isn't he? He's doing, he's done the Squid Game.
Well, to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Beast simply because he
He's got too much
essentially
money, hasn't he?
delayed my T-Series Masterath for 3 months thanks to the PewDiePie stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Nah, he's a great guy. Great guy. Next up, it is Palestine.
Oh dear. Yeah. Let's move on. Poor Palestine. It's probably a lot smaller today than it was back in 2000, wasn't it?
Probably, yes. Next up, it is this team.
The Kurdish Republic, as they're now officially known.
I think
that's...
that's...
Kyrgyzstan.
Is that because no one could pronounce their normal name?
Maybe. But even then, they kept the bit that was hard to remember and not the stan.
They just didn't want to be a stan anymore.
Yeah, they didn't
Don't
really
stan the Kurdish Republic. They don't stan anyone else.
They don't. They took away their stands.
That's young lingo right there. And it's shit.
It is.
Next, it is... Well, it's December the 1st tomorrow for us. It's January for everyone else. It's the Christmas tree flag of Lebanon.
It is. Lebanon. I think they've qualified in previous years, fairly recently as well, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yes.
So, yeah. Big up Lebanon.
Next up, probably out of all the Asian countries, this is the one that Sam likes talking about the most. It's Bahrain.
No, because all the Middle Eastern countries have now all got F1 tracks, so, Bahrain's just another one of the crowd, aren't they?
But they would have been the originators, wouldn't they? Well, obviously, when it comes to Asia, obviously, the Japan one, but...
In terms of the Middle East, I'm trying to think, because Bahrain, was it 2006 or 4? I want to say it was 2004 was the first Bahrain Grand Prix. But as I say, they've all got them now. Bahrain, Qatar's just had one, Saudi Arabia have got one this weekend as we're recording this.
No surprise Qatar's got one, let's be honest.
Well, they weren't meant to this year, but they're going to from now on as well. They've got a big deal. Let's move on. It's political stuff.
Yep. Next up, it is Jordan.
They were the Australia Killers, the original Australia Killers. The first time Australia lost in qualifiers history was back in 2019 to Jordan, of all teams. Australia had gone 3 years unbeaten in the Asian qualifiers after moving over from Oceania, and of all teams, Jordan were the ones to beat them.
Yep. The Australia Killers, could they possibly do it again?
We'll have to wait and see.
Next up, it's Uzbekistan.
Yeah, one of the many stands that participate in the Asian section.
Yep, I think all of them might have made it this year, but then again, they usually do.
Yeah, I think apart from... Well, sometimes some of them have to pre-qualify, don't they? But not for a while.
Yeah, let me just have a quick check. I think all of them have made it. Oh no, Kazakhstan has not.
Oh, that's a shame.
So, apart from Kazakhstan, they've all made it.
Ah, that is unfortunate, that is, isn't it?
Next up, it is Oman.
Oh man, oh man.
Indeed. And next up, it is Iraq.
Ugh, well, that's a big old political thing. Although I suppose it's not so bad anymore, is it? The troops aren't in Iraq anymore. They've left Afghanistan as well, and that's gone horribly wrong. Let's move on.
That's the problem with doing the Asian qualifiers. It's just like, so much of the stuff is, oh yeah, we've been there in recent memory.
Yeah, within my lifetime, certainly, and yours, obviously. It's very awkward because whether that's right or wrong, it's a grey area. And
when Sam mentioned in his lifetime, I'm older than he is. And just because this trophy's been going on since 2005, that doesn't make us 40-year-old crotchety old men. Don't worry.
No, we're not. We're both. We're our mid-20s, Chris.
I'm late 20s, so.
No. You're still mid-20s to me, Chris. Don't worry.
Still feel like actually, no. To be fair, I feel about 40 these days. Next up, it is one of the favourites, I'd say, the United Arab Emirates.
They made the final a few years ago, didn't they? Maybe it was last year, I can't remember, but it was fairly recently. They made the final of the Asian section, which would have been their first, and they were defeated there. I want to say maybe 2020.
Yeah, I think it might be I think there was them and the USA somewhere in there somewhere.
Yeah, possibly. I can't remember, but they're a decent team, the UAE, at this point in history. Maybe not now, but certainly at this point in history, they were pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of good team in this series, former Global Trophy semi-finalists, Saudi Arabia.
And that was recent as well. That was 2019?
I think it might have been 2020.
Or 20. It was 19 or 20, and they beat European champions this year, last week, and of course previous Global Trophy champions Germany en route. So it wasn't as if they just fluked their way there. They beat some big teams.
Yep, exactly. So they could possibly do it again. I'd say they were a bit unlucky they didn't make it last year. I think they've got a good shout here.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up, the reason why the 2022 Global Trophy Champion of Champions will be coming out this Christmas. Technically, when you're watching this, next Christmas for us, it's Qatar.
Yeah, we're holding at the same time as the World Cup, which is nice, isn't it? It's going to be a nice little change.
Yeah.
Something different.
Everyone's going to be wearing football hoodies instead of football shirts.
We will. I mean, they won't maybe out there. They will be very hot. It's very hot out in Qatar. I have a friend that used to live in Qatar, actually. Oh, yeah. Well, I used to have a friend that lived in Qatar.
How was it there?
They moved back, so you tell me.
Well, I don't know. Is that Qatar's, or is it just that we're...
I think it's for business reasons. I don't know.
Or it could be business reasons. Who knows? Next up, it is one of the best Asian teams that has made it to multiple Global Trophy finals and has gotten so close to winning one. For Asia, no Asian team has ever won the Global Trophy before. This team possibly got the closest. South Korea.
Certainly got the closest. They finished second back in 2016, narrowly losing out to Spain. And in 2015, they came in the top 4 as well. Shockingly, though, they've never won the Asian section.
It could be a it could be a very sort of Germany thing.
Yeah, it's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, like sort of like from last week.
Yeah. Maybe they were this year, who knows?
And that, for everyone wondering, was actually last week for us as well.
It was only like 3 days ago.
Close, it feels like last week.
I want to say it was 2 days ago. I can't remember. All the days blur into one for me, honestly. It's a nightmare.
No, it was 3 days.
No, it's Sunday. Today's Tuesday.
No, it wasn't Sunday. We couldn't do Sunday because it was getting late.
That was it. Yeah, so it was Saturday. Yeah, you're right. It was 3 days ago. See, I tell you what, we're good at this. Professional.
Well, while you do this, Iran is next up.
Yep, Iran. Former Asian section champions on 3 occasions. They won the very first back in 2005. They won in 2013 and 2020. A very, very solid team. Surprisingly, that they didn't even make it to the Global Trophy Finals last year.
No, but they are the highest ranked team in Asia to not make it to the Global Trophy Finals last year. So you know they've got a good shout, good odds on.
They do. Yeah, it'd be a surprise if they don't.
Exactly. And next up, the top 8 now. All these teams made it to the Global Trophy Finals last time round. First up, it is Turkmenistan.
Yeah, one of them, as I said, one of the many stands, and they're probably the best of the bunch. Turkmenistan, very decent team, like very, very decent team to this level.
I think didn't they have to pre-qualify at one point?
I can't remember.
I'm pretty certain they had to pre-qualify.
I want to say they were the ones, weren't they? That had to pre-qualify. Yeah, you might be right.
Next up, multiple-time Asian qualifier champions, and they won every single Oceania Qualifiers. It's the Aussies. Oi, oi, oi. It's Australia.
13 in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or something like that. No, or was it 10 in a row? I can't remember. No, they qualified 13 years in a row. They won 10 Oceania qualifiers in a row before the two sections merged. And they then won 3 in a row in Asia as well. They won 2016, 17 and 18 before losing, of course, to Jordan. They haven't won since then, though. Which is quite interesting.
Very interesting. It shows that the coding for this game is getting better. It doesn't exist. Maybe just Australia got lucky for 13 years.
Maybe.
Next up, Vietnam.
Yes. The Nam.
The Nam.
Moving on.
Okay, one of my favourite Top Gear episode specials. There you go.
Oh, yeah, it was really good, wasn't it? That was brilliant.
That was good. Next up, it is Thailand.
Yeah, it's another top 8 last year. I think they've made it for the last couple of years, haven't they, Thailand? They've been pretty solid throughout.
Yep, they've certainly been one of the more consistent Asian teams so far, which is a bit shocking in comparison to a lot of the ones you'd expect in there.
Yep, absolutely.
And next up, they finish higher than Australia. It's New Zealand! They finally did it!
For the first time in over 15 years, they finished ahead of Australia in a qualifier section. And they've equalled, actually, Australia for progression in the Global Trophy Finals as well, because they both made the round of 16 in that competition. But neither of them have progressed any further than that.
Yep, at the moment. Next up,
yep.
Also semi-finalists from last year's Asian qualifiers. Shockers, really. Syria.
They had a good run, didn't they, Syria? They had a really good run, and narrowly losing out, but yeah, a semi-final place and a qualification place to the Global Trophy Finals. Not bad.
Exactly, and next up, it is runner-up of the Asia section. We've already seen them twice in this Global Trophy.
Yes, we have.
But now they're representing themselves. It's China.
Yep, 3-time Asian section champions in 2009, 2011 and 2019. Runners-up last year as well, of course. They almost added a 4th to it, but couldn't quite do it because they lost to our winners, who are, Chris?
Japan.
Yes, the 2-time Asian section champions in 2008 and 2021. Very good team. Do not underestimate Japan. Save state.
Don't worry, I'm on it. Hang on.
It's doing it. It's doing it. Here we go.
There we go. Nope!
Let's not do that again. I can't remember how we fixed it last time.
No, I just got to change over a couple of teams, I think.
Yeah. If you select China and then click Fiji, would that do it? I don't know.
No, essentially, I think how it works is you need to have them in a certain order.
Right.
So if you change the order around, the results will change.
Ah.
That didn't work.
Not like that.
Oh god, North Korea, Syria.
We'll be right back, folks.
Yep. Alright, and we are back. That was 3 attempts there, so...
It takes a lot less time than it used to,
bad.
though, Chris. Yeah, it takes a lot less time than it used to, though, Chris. You have to remember, back in the day, you used to have to reselect all the teams.
I think the first ever one that we did...
the final was the worst one, wasn't it? It was so bad.
YouTube. The first qualifier was the European qualifiers, and it took 6 attempts.
It was a joke. And the final's the worst one, because obviously you got all the different continents in there as well. And, like, if it doesn't work that time, oh, man. And remembering all the teams, it's a nightmare.
It is. Good thing I've got them all here. But anyway, here's what it looks like. It's pretty good for Malaysia there to get the automatic bye against Fiji there. But do we see
absolutely.
any nasty battles?
Well, Iran have got a Tajikistan. You know, that's not an easy game. Obviously, you've got Malaysia in there, of course, former winners. UAE and Philippines is a bit of a crunch match.
We've
China
got
in there as well. And Korea Republic as well. Look at that.
We've got a potential South Korea-China second round.
Yeah, big name will go home. And of course, let's look at the top as well. You got North Korea taking on Bahrain.
Yep, in the first match of the Asian qualifiers, and they're all getting shot.
Well, no, because Bahrain, they've got oil money. Bahrain have.
Nah, I'm talking about North Korea.
Oh right, yeah, the players, yeah, of course.
They're getting shot. But Bahrain through to round 2, and they'll take on either Lebanon or Myanmar. Myanmar could do this,
Yeah, pre-qualifiers Myanmar. Let's see how they deal with Lebanon.
They have won, and unfortunately Christmas is dead for everybody because it's January. It's actually
Christmas is
last
over.
day of November.
Yeah, Christmas is over for everyone because of, a certain pandemic, which is slightly resurfacing at this point in history.
Next up, it is Tajikistan barely making it through without having to pre-qualify versus Iran, who are the top team that didn't make it through to the quarterfinals last year round.
Yeah, the highest FIFA ranked team qualification metric. Let's see how they deal with the lowest.
Tajikistan knock out Iran.
That's a big scalp, that is. Look at that. So Iran, former Asian section champions on 3 occasions, eliminated in the first round.
Yep, New Zealand could come in here. They've got Vietnam. 2 teams that both made it to the Global Trophy Finals last year.
Yep, the Oceania bridesmaids against Vietnam with the star on their flag. Will they be the stars tonight? Yes, they will. They beat New Zealand by a 0-0.
Yep, New Zealand, unfortunately, for the first round this time round. And, well, Malaysia's going to be able to go through to round 2 with a bye here against Fiji.
A well-earned win as well for Malaysia because, of course, they did go unbeaten in the preliminaries. In fact, they got a 100% record. And, well, I think that's fair, isn't it, really? They earned their place.
I'd say so. I mean, the only other time I believe that Malaysia was in the preliminary leagues, they also finished first, but they actually lost the game.
Oh, did they? Interesting.
But then again, that's, 29 wins in 30 games in preliminary league battles, so...
It's not bad, is it? It's not a bad record.
It's not terrible, to be honest.
Next up is the UAE against the pre-qualifiers, the Philippines.
Yeah, could see Philippines versus Malaysia 2 here. We're not going to see that. We're going to see UAE Malaysia in round 2. That's a big match.
It is a big match. 2 established teams in the Asian section.
Indeed. Next up, it's China now, representing themselves finally, versus Uzbekistan.
China, of course, were last year's Asian runner-up.
They are through to round 2 for now. Kuwait, who finished 3rd in the preliminary league, versus former Global Trophy runners-up, South Korea.
A much higher pedigree, isn't it, in the Global Trophy qualifiers as opposed to the preliminary league. Let's see how they deal with that.
Kuwait knock them out!
Phenomenal result there for Kuwait.
Out go South Korea in round 1. God, this could open the door for Africa here because Europe's teams aren't looking incredibly strong.
And neither are Asia, because they've lost, Iran and South Korea already.
This could leave South Africa ready to just take on the entire trophy here.
And of course the Americas will have to get to them as well, because there's some big names down there.
Yep. Kyrgyzstan is next up, the Kurdish Republic versus India.
Yeah, two not the most established teams. Let's see how they get on.
13-0 India, nearly breaking the Asian record, at least for Malaysia.
Yeah, 14-0 was the result in the preliminaries, but yeah, India, huge result and through to round 2.
Yep.
Where they'll play either Oman or Iraq.
Yep, 2 teams with 4 letters in their country's name.
Yes.
This is the content you like to see, right? 2-0 to Iraq. They're through to round 2.
Absolutely.
Oh no.
We move on. Oh, it's not a great game for the old human rights, is it? This one, Palestine versus Syria.
Yeah, Syria, who did finish in the top 4 in Asia last year, so probably have more of a chance. They do. 2-0 win for Syria.
A big crunch match next as well. Look at that.
Yep, Turkmenistan, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia are through.
Yeah, that was a potential banana skin for them, wasn't it? But a good result for Saudi Arabia, putting themselves through to the second round and a tie with Syria.
Yep. Afghanistan now take on New Caledonia, 2 teams who had to pre-qualify to get here.
Yeah, Afghanistan finishing second. I think New Caledonia finished 5th in the end.
Yes, they did. And Afghanistan get the win.
They do indeed, and they move on to the top 16 of the Asian qualifiers to take on either Japan or Yemen.
Yep, Japan or Yemen. It's Japan 6-0.
Yep, the Asian champions go through to round 2.
And Australia, Thailand, 2 teams that were knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Asia qualifiers last year.
Yeah, of course, Australia, former Asian section champions on 3 occasions. Of course, we know about their story in Oceania. Thailand have actually made the Global Trophy finals the last couple of years, so a big name's going to go out here.
Out go Thailand!
Yeah, and our final fixture is Qatar and Jordan.
Yeah, very interesting. The last one. Winner takes on Australia in round 2. It's Jordan 3-2. We've got the Jordan
rematch.
Killer rematch.
Fantastic. You love to see it.
The rematch of the ages. Australia, Jordan again.
We've got a long way to go until we get there, though. We start off the last 16 with Bahrain and Myanmar. This to get through to the Global Trophy Finals.
Just think about this. Bahrain have not made it to a Global Trophy Finals in probably years. Myanmar finished 6th in the preliminaries, and Bahrain have gone through.
Yep, Bahrain will be in the Global Trophy Finals at the end of January. Good result for them. Myanmar, you might have to pre-qualify again next year, lads. I'm sorry.
Very much might do. Tajikistan now versus Vietnam. Vietnam made it to the quarterfinals last year.
Yep, they have. I think they did it again fairly recently as well.
They're not going to do it this time. Tajikistan making a mark with them being the lowest ranked Asian team with the FIFA rankings that was able to qualify without pre-qualification. They're through to the Global Trophy Finals.
They are, and that means they won't have to next year either. Even if their FIFA ranking dips, they're going to be safe. They're going to be comfortably sitting there thinking, okay, we got this, we'll be here for next year.
Yep. Malaysia versus UAE here. Malaysia do need to win this, I'd say.
They do, but they've won the Asian section in the past, the pre-qualifying champions. Can they do it against UAE now?
Yeah, 2-time pre-qualifying champions. Nope, UAE knock them out.
Good result for UAE there. Malaysia, despite going undefeated in the preliminaries and, of course, getting the bye, they lose to the United Arab Emirates.
Yep, so that leaves Kuwait and Afghanistan as the final 2 from the preliminaries still left in.
Yep, it's not looking good for them, is it? Especially with China take on Kuwait.
Yep, and Afghanistan's got Japan, so...
It's the top 2 from last year against the final 2 preliminary teams.
Yep. Kuwait knock out China!
Unbelievable! Kuwait!
Kuwait through to another Global Trophy Finals right there, knocking out China.
I'll tell you what, again, the Asian teams here aren't looking too strong, are they? Like, this is a very wide open bracket we're going to get, isn't it?
I mean, if we get Saudi Arabia, Japan, and Australia in the
it looks better
in there, then they could salvage it.
Yeah, but they've all got, difficult banana skin fixtures, haven't they, really?
Definitely. India, Iraq next.
India, of course, had that enormous win in the first round.
They've lost this time, though. 2-1, and Iraq through to the finals as well.
Good result for Iraq, and India probably a bit disappointed by that.
Yep. Syria, Saudi Arabia for a chance at the Global Trophy finals.
You've got to favour the Saudis, haven't you?
You certainly have. 1-0, Saudi Arabia's back in the Global Trophy finals.
Good to see as well. They're a good team.
Yep. Afghanistan now. Kuwait have made it. Can the runner-up of the preliminary league also make it? They're against the Asian champions.
It's a big ask for Afghanistan.
They've not done it. Japan's through to another Global Trophy finals.
Yeah, the land of the rising sun have gone through, and our final match. This is a big revenge match. Australia's unbeaten run in qualification history was stopped by Jordan.
Can Jordan make it 2 in a row? Or can the Aussies avenge their biggest defeat? They can! 6-1 Australia!
Huge win for Australia. That's a massive marker as well.
Yep, so the Asian section were able to recover with teams like Saudi Arabia, Japan, and Australia all going through now. So it's not looking as bad.
No, and they have got the UAE as well in there, which are a good team.
Yep,
so.
exactly. But we're going to see the Tajikistan or Bahrain in the semi-finals here.
This is what I'm here for. This is the content I'm here for.
Yep, who's going to win? Bahrain or Tajikistan? Bahrain in the semis!
Good result for Bahrain, the Gulf state.
Yep.
Well, they're going to be taking on another Gulf state in the semi-finals.
Yep. UAE versus Kuwait. Both teams didn't make it to the Global Trophy finals last time round. UAE have won 2-0.
Yep, good result for the UAE there. They take on Bahrain in a battle of the oil, really.
Yep, battle of oil. Iraq versus Saudi Arabia.
Big crunch match again here. Saudi Arabia are probably the favourites.
Iraq knocked them out.
That's a massive result for Iraq.
One of the best teams in Asia out in the quarterfinals, but they will still make it to the Global Trophy finals. But Iraq through to the semi-finals.
Having a great run, Iraq, beating India and now Saudi Arabia.
Yep, Japan, Australia, the Asian champions versus one of the greatest Asia Oceanian teams of all time in Australia.
Yeah, these two are probably the favourites now to go and win this qualifiers, aren't they?
Definitely. Australia 5-3. What a win for the neutral.
Yeah, brilliant result for Australia, and that has really opened up the door for them.
Yep, out go the Asian champions.
But they are still going to be back.
Yep, they will
for the
be
Global
back.
Trophy finals.
But they can't defend their Asian championship now. Bahrain UAE semi-finals.
Brilliant performance from Bahrain, you have to say.
Brilliant.
It would be a big ask to beat UAE,
Absolute
I think.
Brilliant performance. UAE 6-0.
And the quality of the UAE really showing there. They will take on Iraq or Australia in the Asian section final.
Yep, and Australia have won it 2-1. Can Australia win it again?
For the fourth time, they could equal the most wins in Asia here.
Yep, and in a split second of the time, they have done it!
They've done it! Wow, Australia!
Australia back at the top of the mountain!
They've equalled the record for most Asian section wins, and they've only been in there for 7 years. Unbelievable.
Yep, they beat UAE 1-0 in the finals. But joining Germany, Czech Republic, Norway, Ukraine, Belgium, Slovenia, Italy and Bulgaria are Bahrain, Tajikistan, the UAE, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and the new 4-time Asian Cup champions, Australia.
Yeah, brilliant result for Australia, and back on form, I think you have to say.
Yep, certainly. But I'm looking at those teams now, I'm thinking Africa or South America.
Must be licking their lips, mustn't they?
Yeah,
at the prospect of this.
The top 8 from those two countries, it's not incredibly strong, is it?
I mean, look, you can't discount Saudi Arabia, of course. They have made the semi-finals of the Global Trophy in the past. Australia, of course, okay, they've never made it past the round of 16, but with the level of opposition, you've got to think, maybe there's a chance.
I mean, it's not going to be surprising to me if a random team makes it into the top 8 this year.
Maybe even the top 4.
Maybe
like,
Bahrain.
Really, it genuinely could happen.
Yeah, it could be Bahrain, it could be Iraq. Tajikistan could make it to the semi-finals. It could happen unless Africa and America field really strong qualifiers.
Absolutely. It's very exciting though, isn't it? We've got such a wide open bracket.
Yep, certainly.
Already starting.
Yep, certainly. And when it comes to the qualifiers, we are halfway through this now with 2 to go. 16 teams have made it to the Global Trophy Finals. We have 16 to go. Who's going to make it through in Africa? We'll find out next week.
We'll see you then.
Yep, we'll see you then.